being leaner. Most of this is actually lean concepts, as
Exactly.
well as psychological concepts. So very, very well suited for Alma.
Yeah. As you know, and we talked a little bit in our earlier conversations, I created a framework called Alma to assess agility within the companies. And it's based on key agile values that I believe are the most important values to actually unlock the power of our teams. So we're talking about accountability, learning, motivation, and autonomy. And for starting the conversation here, Scott, I really propose a concept called agile limbo. And this is really close to what DA proposes on the CGI graph, where you actually are following a prescribed method, following just for the sake of following that, and things do not improve. They get a little mature in the processes, just following ceremonies and stuff, if we're talking about Scrum, right? And things do not improve, called agile limbo. And how to unlock from there, right? This is really what I propose in the Alma frame. The CGI graph, that is this slide here, it's pretty close, right?
It is, yeah. So this is actually based on the S curve of method or framework adoption, and it's interesting. You call it agile limbo, but Ivar Jacobson a few years ago coined the term method jail or framework jail or method prison. And basically, it's exactly as you say. Organizations or teams get they hit the limits of the framework, they hit the limits of the method, and then they get stuck. They're in limbo, they're in jail. And how do you get out of it? How do you improve beyond the framework, beyond the methods that you've adopted? And this is one of the things that that Disciplined Agile is all about: the freedom of choice to actually own your own process.
For sure. And I believe that a great way for that, and this is actually what I propose in the Alma framework, is that you need to go to the basics. You need to go back to the mindset. So it's not about the method, it's how you actually go back and unlock from there. So yes, so the concept for the limbo is like prescribed framework, iteration after iteration, things do not improve, allow motivation, allow engagement. So the issue is not in the method. We need to go back to the key values and ask the right question. The Alma framework that proposes the companies to look on how they are in four key agile values: accountability, learning, motivation, and autonomy, and proposes a way to assess that within their companies to start with. Framework that proposes a way to see the essence of your company. And this is really links back a lot with the DA mindset, right? As we were talking about. So when you talk about like creating psychological safety, right? This is really about creating a place for learning where the teams can make mistakes and learn from there, right?
It is, yeah. Exactly. So I think a few interesting things I want to point out about the mindset, and we'll certainly go into details in a bit. The first one is that we've gone beyond the Agile Manifesto. The Agile Manifesto was written almost 20 years ago, and it was great, absolutely genius piece of work. But it reflects the situation from 20 years ago, and it's also focused on software development, which is also wonderful, but not where we are today, and we've gone way beyond that. So
Exactly.
we've organized the DA mindset into three categories or three concepts. A collection of principles. And so because we believe in this collection of principles, we make promises to ourselves, to our stakeholders, to the other teams, the other people that we collaborate with. And then in order to fulfill these promises, we follow a collection of guidelines. And what we found is that these principles, promises, and guidelines really do help to provide a more mature, more robust approach, way of thinking towards being more agile, around being leaner. Most of this is actually lean concepts, as
Exactly.
well as psychological concepts. So very, very well suited for Alma.
Yeah, for sure. It's all about really having us working on the base, right? Working on a set of principles where you're mentioning here that within this, following these principles, you can make promises and using some guidelines that you can follow, right? So
Yeah.
these are all part of coming back a little bit from, okay, I have a magic bullet, I have a framework, and okay, I can have a lot of different frameworks or life cycles to use depending on the context that you are, as DA proposes, but without working on the base, right, you cannot achieve that. And this is really what Alma talks about, and the DA mindset is all about too.
Yeah, exactly.